Welcome back to the IB Stress YouTube channel. In today's class, we're going to learn how I made this beautiful civil wedding dress that we see here. I'll take you through how to cut and sew this in this class. If this is something you like to learn, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. So this is a two part. We're going to cut the half length first before we go over to cut the skirt. So for the half length, working with my measurement, I'm going to divide the shoulder measurement into two. 18 divided by 2 is 9, and then on that point I'm going to come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. So here I'm using a neck width of 3 inches and the neck depth of 3 inches for the front, and then I'm going to connect it together and then connect to my shoulder slope as well. So once this is done, the next thing is to mark my armhole line. So from the shoulder I'm going to mark my armhole line downwards, which is 9.5 inches, and then I'm going to connect it. So after that I'm going to mark my bust point, my under bust, and my half length as well. So I'll take this measurement somewhere else again so that I can have a straight line. Then with my ruler I'm going to create the straight lines. So once that is done as well, you're going to use your bust span measurement to create your dart line. Mine is 9.5 divided by 2 is 4.5. So the shoulder, you measure your shoulder and then you divide what you have into 2. So I'm just confirming the measurements there so that I'll be sure I'm doing the right thing. So I'll connect that to my bust point and then to the midpoint of the shoulder. So that becomes your dart line. The next thing now is to measure your round bust. Mine is 45, and then you divide that by 4 so that you can take your round bust measurement. And then I'm marking my shoulder again there so that I can have my armhole line. So now I'm going to divide my armhole line into 2, and then on that point I'm going to come in by half an inch and then connect to form my armhole, just like that. So once that is done, the next is to take our dart. I'm taking a dart of 1 inch on both sides for my under bust and my waist, and then I'm going to connect straight like that. Then with my curved ruler I'm going to connect that to my bust point, just as you can see it. So once that is done now, the next thing for you is to determine the neckline that you want to work with. So the depth of your neckline is dependent on how open. Remember, this is a sweetheart neckline, so it depends on how open you want it to be. I initially used 7.5 inches, but I still changed my mind. So I used 4.5 inches downward on the armhole area, and then on the center I used 8 inches for the depth. So the next thing is for me to connect. So I'm just checking to see how open the body is going to be. So that's the neckline I finally worked with. So the next thing is to tighten my over bust. So on that line I measured 0.75 on both sides, and then I connected that to my bust point on both sides, just as you have seen. So because of the type of neckline I'm working with, you can see that the dart line is not going to be the same. So you are going to measure them and through your dart so that you have the same thing on both dart legs, so that when you want to join you not have issues. And then I connected that to my neckline back, so I'm confirming that I have the same thing on the two sides. So once that is done, the next thing now is to go ahead and create our yoke. Remember that this has a yoke on the neckline. So for the yoke, from my neck depth I'm going to come down by 1 inch. It depends on how open you want it to be, and then I'm going to take my cuff and then connect it to the second dart leg, just the way I placed the cuff. That is how I'm going to place it. So all those other parts is just going to remain open. So if you want, you can tighten your yoke if you feel it's going to gape. So now the next thing now is to mark your round waist. So you're going to divide your round waist into 4, and then you mark what you have there so that you can have your side. So now I have connected for my side. So for my bust that I'm coming down by 2 inches on the bust point, and then I'm going to connect. So all the darts are taken care of now. So like I said, I'm going to be tightening the shoulder a little bit. So I came down by 0.25 on my neckline, and then I'm connecting it to my shoulder point just like that. I just want to use it to, there are several ways you can tighten your shoulder. So if you want more tutorial on that, let me know in the comment section. So for the back, I am measuring my starting point line. So here I'll mark my armhole line, and then my back half length. So my armhole is 9.5, and the half length is 15.5. So I'm connecting them together like that. So I'm using the same shoulder measurement, which is 9 inches, the same neck width, but the neck depth for the back is going to be 1 inch. So I'll take my ruler and then connect everything that I have marked together. So you connect your shoulder slope to your neck point as well. So the next thing now is for you to mark your armhole for the back. So my bust is 45 divided by divided by 4 is 11.25. So I'm marking that, and I'm connecting for my back armhole. So what we are doing now is to tighten the center back to avoid gaping when you fix your zipper. So at the waistline, I measured 1.25 inches, just as you have seen, and then I connected. I'm not adding that to this, so that is going to sort of serve like my dart. So after that, I added my 1 inch from my zipper allowance, and then again I came up by half an inch on the waist. So that all this is just so that when the time I sew it, I will not have any bulging on the zipper area. So I'm adding my seam allowance to the back, and I'm going to connect together. You can add your seam allowance on your pattern, or you add when you are transferring to your fabric. So I'm not taking any that on the back, but you can see that with all those adjustments that I did for the back, it's not going to have any, it's not going to be bulky at any point. It's still going to lay the way it's supposed to lay. So for the front, I'm adding seam allowance to the front as well, so that I don't need to add to my back. So I decided to change my neck width to 4 inches. So you can see that I did the same thing for the back as well, and then I reconnected it to the neck depth. So the next thing now is to go ahead and cut out your pattern. So I've cut the back, so this is the front I'm cutting. That's my center front, and then this is my side front. I'm going to take out the that for the side front as well. Then you're going to cut out your yoke as well. So you can see I did a little bit of tightening. Like I said, you can also tighten it on the dart line if you want. So I'm just checking that I have enough. So now for the back, for the skirt, I have my front and back skirt folded. I have a detailed tutorial on how to make a pencil skirt already, so I'm sure we have done that severally. So I'm just creating the side of my skirt. I'm cutting both the front and back together, and then there I'm marking my zipper allowance for the skirt of the back, for the back of the skirt, sorry. So once you do all of that, you are going to connect. I don't want this tutorial to be too long, so I'm cutting out what I have there. So this is going to have like a peplum. Okay, person wants to use peplum to hide the tummy, but I want it to have like a stylish peplum. I don't want it to have a regular peplum. So I'm putting paper under the skirt so that I can cut the shape of the skirt out on the paper, so that I'll be able to create the type of peplum that I want to create. And then I'm marking my important points. That's my hip line there. Okay, so the next thing now is to draw the shape of my peplum. So at this point you can create whatever shape you want for your peplum, but this is the shape I decided to go for mine. So just look at the screen. I'm taking out the seam allowance. Remember, it already has a seam allowance, so that I will know what I'm doing. So this is the shape that I went for my peplum. I decided to create it on the pattern first because I used slash and spread to introduce more volume to it. So I have a picture that I'm working with. I'm just checking the picture to make sure that I'm following the shape the way it's supposed to be. So you can see I've cut it out and I have my slash lines already. So I'm going to slash through the lines and then I'm going to spread it so that we can have enough volume. So you can spread as much as you want based on the amount of volume you want to have. This is not supposed to be too voluminous because it's actually a pencil skirt. We are it's a pencil dress. We are just introducing this because the person has tummy and we are trying to use this to hide the bulge that we may have from the tummy. So once you do this, we are going to place it on your fabric. If you are using this as both lining and fabric, you fold your fabric into two like I am doing. So that is what I'm doing, and then I'm just placing it on my fabric and then I'll cut it out the way you are seeing. So once you cut it out, you use them to turn out each other so that you can sew it to your body. So I'm notching where the placement is going to be on the skirt. That is what I'm notching. I'm just making sure that everything rhymes well. So for the half length, I want to do bust caging on the bust. So you can see that I have joined my bustier together. So on, and that is my yoke as well. I've also turned my yoke with my, I'm using the same fabric as the lining, so I have turned it out and I'm making sure that they are all at the points they are supposed to be. So we're going to be doing bust caging. I already have a tutorial on that as well on the channel. That is the skirt and the peplum is already sewn to the skirt. So back to the bust caging, we are going to mark out the lines that we are going to be caging on the bustier. So I'm just trying to use my pen to mark it out so that when I am caging it, I will just follow the lines that I have marked already. Again, I have a detailed tutorial on how you can do your bust caging on the channel. So like I was saying, if you don't know how to do a bust caging, let me know in the comment section. I'm going to drop the link to the tutorial for you. So there are several ways you can cage your bust. I'm just choosing a simple regular one by just dividing my bust into like half and then making sure that I have boning running through the important points so that I will not have a flat bust by the time I'm done. So once you are done marking it, you go ahead and cage. Can you see? I just sew my boning round the places where I have already marked. So this is what I have. Because it's boning, it's going to be a little bit strong. So I'm going to use my fiber to flesh it so that when the person wears it, it's not going to be so, it's not going to be so strong on the body. So because fiber does not have, you can use whatever you want. You can use stay, you can use wording to flesh, but I just prefer to use fiber. So fiber does not have any glue on it, so I'm going to be using my hemming gum as glue. So you can see that I've cut a little piece of my hemming gum and then I'm going to use my iron to iron it together. So this is what I have after fleshing. It's no longer so sharp, so I'm just placing the right side on it so that I can see what it looks like. So before we turn with our lining, we are going to sew the, we are going to sew the yoke together. So for the yoke, I'm going to be fixing hook and eye there. I'm going to be fixing hook and eye there so that she can close it and then open it if she wants. So to beautify it a bit, when I'm done, I'm going to be putting a claw stone there as well so that this can just make it more beautiful. So just find a way to neatly tack your hook and eye so that when you tack it, it's not going to be showing so much. So you can see that I'm just going to find a way to make sure that I tack it neatly to that place. So once that is done now, you will now be able to use your lining to turn it out. So I have done this and you can see how clean it is looking. So for the chest area, it is designed with pearls. So I'm going to be using my pearl. That's why I've not added my skirt, because I want to add the pearls so that I can use the lining to cover it, so that the iron of the pearls will not be showing. So I have this pearl setting machine. I'm going to be using the mouth for the size of the pearl that I am doing. I just want to show you how to do this. So it has like iron under. You're going to put it under there and then fix the pearl on top. So it's very easy to use. It's very, very easy to use. So I'm cleaning it because I'm working with a white fabric, so that it doesn't stain my fabric. And then I'm just going to fix it on the neckline and on the side. So just once you place your fabric on it facing the right side like that, you just put it there and it's going to stick. So you separate your lining from your main fabric while doing this, because the pearl have iron. The iron that you are putting on that is going to show. So I want to make sure that I apply the pearl on the main fabric, and then the lining is going to cover it up for me, because if you don't do that and the this thing is showing, it's not always very nice. If you just put dots around it, and I don't want that. So separating my lining. So I've done that. You can see I have arranged pearl. It's the same process. You just need to mark out where you want it to be, and then you put it there. So once you do that, this is what you're going to have. I also added a little of the pearl all around the skirt, so that it can show on the skirt. So can you see what it looks like on the wrong side? It's not going to be neat. So that's why I made sure to do it on the fabric, so that I'll be able to use my lining to cover it up. I did the same thing for the skirt as well. So this is the back. The back does not have a pearl. I've joined them together, and then I fixed my zipper and my lining to it. So can you see how neat it is looking? So what I'm going to do now is to join the shoulder of the back together, and then the side as well. So you can see I have joined the shoulder and the side, and then I have attached my claw stone to the hook and eye area, just so that you can see it's going to beautify it a bit more. So this is what I have now so far. The dress is almost ready. The next thing is to cut out my sleeve. So can you see how neat it is? Make sure that what you are doing is very, very clean, and make sure you are using a good zipper. This is an SBS zipper, because it's fitted and you don't want it to rip. So you should make sure you invest in a good zipper. So this is the sleeve that I'm working with. It has like an open slit. That's the sleeve. It's just a straight sleeve with slit. So if you like a tutorial on the sleeve as well, let me know in the comment section, and I'm going to film a tutorial on the sleeve. So I'm just going to fix my sleeve to my dress, and you can see what I have. If you have any open parts of the sleeve, I used hemming gum all around, because I don't want to have seam lines on the sleeve. Can you see? And then you weave where necessary, because the sleeve does not have a lining. So this is what it looks like on the on the front, and this is the back as well. You make sure that everything you are doing is clean. With the armhole area, with the sleeve does not have a lining, like I said. So you make sure that you weave everywhere that is showing anything rough. Make sure that it is as clean as possible. Once you make sure of that, your dress is ready. I hope you enjoyed making this with me. If there's any part you want me to expatiate more, let me know in the comment section, and I'm going to film a more detailed tutorial on that part. I hope you enjoyed making this with me, and I'm going to see you in the next one. Bye.